Hey, welcome back. Okay, so today is part two of my Radical Receiving series. And in this second part, I'm going to explore how regulating your nervous system so you can feel safe enough and worthy enough to receive is the first step in the process of rewiring your nervous system. And then the next step is expanding and recoding your nervous system for more. That expansion piece is oftentimes the piece that's not spoken about by a lot of practitioners, and it is the difference that makes the difference. It's the very thing that allows you to actually anchor your identity and your reality into a new expanded receiving paradigm. For most of us, when we talk about and we think about regulating the nervous system, you want to know that your nervous system is here to keep you safe. It's here to keep you alive for survival's sake. So you're regulating the nervous system will keep you in your comfort zone. It will keep you in a smaller box. The moment we start working towards expansion and expanding of the nervous system, that's where we start to increase our capacity to receive and to have and to hold more. And to do that in a way that feels really easeful. So today I'm going to take you through these steps that are needed to recode the nervous system completely, fully, into that expanded receiving reality, so that you're not just increasing the quantity of your receiving, like how much you're bringing in. And when I say bringing in quantity, I don't just, and even when I talk about wealth, I don't just mean wealth in terms of money, although that's part of it. But when I think of wealth and I think of receiving more, it's receiving more of everything you want. It's receiving more love. It's receiving more support. It's receiving more responsibilities, bigger projects, like whatever you're wanting. And yes, receiving more clients, all of that. So when we're talking about recoding the nervous system into that place of expansion and stepping into that expanded receiving reality, not only are we increasing the quantity of your receiving and making it easier to receive more, how much you get, but we're also rewiring the quality of your receiving. How easeful, how joyful, how sustainable receiving gets to be. Because as we're going to explore today, for me, in my experience and what I've seen in myself and what I've seen with clients, it's not just about having more and receiving more. It's about doing it in a way that is, it's about doing it in a way that's actually going to be really nourishing to all of you, and it's going to be easeful and it's going to be fun. In the end, that is what makes it safe for your nervous system to shift and to allow more. That's what shifts your relationship to receiving and having and holding more. It's not just about quantity, it's about quality. Because if receiving doesn't feel good, if receiving comes at too high of a cost, if receiving creates friction in your life, then your nervous system will block it. So the quality of receiving is just as important, if not more important, than the quantity. So that's what we're going to go over today. For those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm Ilsa. I'm a total spiritual nerd, a licensed therapist, and an expansion expert and strategist. For almost 20 years at this point, I've been teaching clients how to rewire their nervous system and lives and businesses for more. More joy, more ease, more money, more expansion, all of that more. If you want more expansive growth and easeful receiving in your life, in love, in work, in wealth, then I have a 90-minute one-on-one Wired for Wealth intensive that I offer people who are new to me at 55% off. You can click the description to book that. And essentially, this is designed specifically for purpose-driven professionals and soulful entrepreneurs and leaders who want to repair and recode and expand their nervous system to feel safe, receiving more in a way that's really easeful and playful in their life and in their work. Okay, let's get started. So for many of us, it's been wired into us that getting the outcome we want in our lives in our business is going to take a lot of hard work, that it's going to take effort, that it's going to take sacrifice. I mean, to the point where it almost has become a badge of honor that like producing and working hard is what it's about. And we've been conditioned that success always comes at a cost. It comes at a cost of our health, of our time, of our freedom, of our joy. And if it comes too easy, it's almost weird. And that's part of what happens with the sabotage. So a big part of what holds us back and makes receiving feel unsafe to our nervous system is that our nervous system is sensing that if we do get the clients we want, if we do get the relationship we want, if we get the promotion or the big project or whatever that we want, we're going to pay for it. We're going to pay for it in some ways. And so that's leading us to essentially receive just enough or not enough instead of being able to receive more than enough. So most of the blocks that I see show up around money and love and receiving are directly related to the nervous system. Like my client Allie, for example, every time that she had a record-breaking month, she would end up with either a huge bill she wasn't expecting or some kind of massive blow up in her life, either at home or at work. And essentially, it emotionally, it would sense like there was nothing, either all the profits was leaving her bank account or all her energy was leaving. And she just wanted to pull her hair out and just go under the covers. And she just didn't know how to receive more without having that snapback, it seemed. Or my client Christina is another example of that. You know, the last time she brought in this huge new contract, it was the biggest contract she'd ever gotten. She got so overwhelmed by the idea of having to step up at that level and having to show up at that level that she got burned out. Something in her got frozen from receiving this much all at once, both in terms of money and in terms of opportunity. And she wasn't actually able to close any new clients for over 4 months, which is when she started working with me. Or my client Richard, who is a freaking workaholic and finally took a vacation. And the moment he took his vacation, he worked throughout the entire vacation, unable to receive, unable to rest, unable to enjoy himself. A sense that if he doesn't keep on the wheel, something bad's going to happen or everything's going to fall apart. And then the last little example of this I'll give you is my client Natalie. Natalie, I feel like I am Natalie, and a lot of my clients are like Natalie. She gives a shit ton, and she feels like she has to give a lot before she can ask for anything in return. And that's true at home with her family, and that's true at work. She overgives. She can't say no. She's underpaid. She literally never stops and is here for everyone else. But she doesn't really feel like she's getting anything back or as much back. Not enough support, not enough acknowledgement, not getting paid enough, and it's building resentment and it's building overwhelm and burnout. So these are all examples of how we've all been trained to give and to keep going, but we don't know how to rest and how to receive. And that is something that is wired inside us in the nervous system. The thing you want to understand, we're back to this concept that the nervous system is about survival and it's about fitting in. The nervous system is wired to get you to overdo, to be a people pleaser, to want to always go to do more and more and more and more. But it's also wired to not let you get too big, because what it does, essentially what it's wired to do, is to do anything it can to make you fit in just right, so that you're never going to be exiled from your tribe, you're not going to be criticized, you're not going to be judged, you're not going to be at risk of essentially pissing people off. The problem with that is it sets us up to do everything for others except ourselves. So for many of us, we simply don't know how to rest. We don't know how to ask or allow in support. We don't know how to take in the good. We simply feel either undeserving of it or we feel unable to receive and enjoy. And we're wired that way. This is the doing part of it. And this is also the I do, but I'm not getting back what I put out. There are so many examples of ways that we have been conditioned to feel safe and worthy as long as we're giving. But the moment we lean back, the moment we allow ourselves to receive, something in us contracts. And we don't know how to let in what we want safely. Or we let it in, but then we lose it, or we pay for it in some ways. Can you relate to any of that? Have you felt like your ability to receive is blocked? That's been very much true for me. And that's part of what got me on this journey. So if you feel like you've done enough and you're ready to really enjoy your life, then just click the link in the description and let's get to work on recoding and expanding your nervous system. So for most of us, our nervous system is used to all that doing. It's used to all that giving, all that sacrificing, instead of being in resonance with rest and receiving. And so that's the work. The work is starting to shift out of the fact that doing is normal and making receiving normal. One of the metaphors I often use is our breath. When you think of the way we breathe, you can't keep breathing out if you don't breathe in. And oftentimes, you need to breathe in first before you can breathe out. So we need to actually be able to receive and feel really comfortable receiving, normalize receiving within our body, within our nervous system, so that we can really give. And then at that point, we're giving from overflow. So a lot of the work in the nervous system is actually training the body, training the nervous system to get in resonance, to calibrate with rest and with receiving rather than with doing and hustling. And this way, we get to receive, but we get to receive from a place of ease, from a place of joy, of pleasure, with more playfulness. And as we're growing and expanding in our lives, we get to receive without taking our nervous system out of whack, essentially, without putting our nervous system out of whack. For me, it's all about making it feel really nourishing and making sure it doesn't lead to overwhelm and burnout. Because I work usually with two types of people. I work with the kind of people who just struggle bringing in enough, and no matter what they do, they feel like they're capped. Either they can't make their relationships work and they're always bringing in the wrong people, or they're not making any more money no matter what they do. The other types of people I work with tend to be people who are actually have the lives they want, but they're burned out and they're not enjoying it and they don't feel satisfied. They can't take it in. They can't enjoy it. They can't rest and actually, it's not just about receiving on the surface, it's about receiving in the depth of your being so that what you receive actually like permeates you and you get to be really nourished by it. So a big part of receiving in a way that will feel expansive and feel joyous and nourishing and sustainable is these 4 steps that I'm going to take you through. So the first thing that we have to take into consideration is that for most of us, we have normalized our nervous system being in contraction. So we feel tight, we have chronic tension, we have anxiety, we feel like we're always rushing or always waiting for the other shoe to drop. There's something in our bodies and our nervous system that doesn't feel quite safe. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel like it's okay to just do this. To just like open and relax and feel in trust and certainty that it's all working out for us. We feel like we have to prove, we have to do, we have to overcompensate for something. That's a contraction in a nervous system. Almost everyone who comes to work with me feels that way one way or the other. Either they're frustrated or they're burned out or they're overwhelmed or they're confused. There's something that's happening in the body and the nervous system that feels really tight. So the first step is always moving out of contraction into regulation. And a lot of people do this work, right? A lot of people will help you figure out how to come out of dysregulation back into regulation, to start feeling safe, to start feeling grounded, to start feeling like it's okay to be here. So in this first step, we're shifting out and away from all the woundings, all the blocks, all the pressure, and the sense that it has to be hard. We're starting to shift out of that, and we're coming back to a sense of feeling calm and feeling safe, being ourselves and being right here, right now. In step 2, once you're regulated, in step 2, we're going to move from regulation to teaching the body to begin to really relax, open, be at rest, and be receptive. So it's not just about being like, you're going from here to here. That's regulation. We feel grounded, we feel here, we feel somewhat safe. Now we're going from here to here. We're going to lean back. We're going to start being able to receive. We're going to start being able to feel like really supported by life, really safe to be truly ourselves. And we're teaching the body that it is safe to be here. It is safe to take more space. It is safe to expand, to be open, because you can't receive if you're not open. So that's the next step. It's moving beyond regulation into that openness, that relaxation, that rest, and that ability to be receptive. The third part of that, once you're here and you're lean back and you're open and you're willing to be receptive, you feel safe enough to be open. Now we're bringing you from relaxation and openness into expansion. It's not just about being like this, it's about really claiming your space. It's about, I call that awakening the giant within. And when I work with nervous system work, oftentimes the first code is awakening the giant within, like being able to feel safe, really being big. Because the bigger you are, the bigger it feels safe to be in an embodied, somatic way. The more you start to be able to receive. So this, when we're starting to come into step 3, we're actually moving into what I call identity work. So the first step is really nervous system work. Like we're shifting the nervous system so that the nervous system is going to become your ally rather than work against you. In step 3, we're starting to shift your identity into who you were born to be. You know, this is related to the first part 1 that I did last week, which was around reclaiming the limitlessness, the magic, the ultimate confidence that we had as children, what I call the magical child inside, and starting to rewire and embody that energy of possibility, of magic, of creativity, of I am here to do big things and the world belongs to me. In part 3, we are moving out of just feeling relaxed and feeling open to really expanding our identity to take our seat in sovereignty and to become anchored in expansion and to start feeling safe, daring to want more, daring to receive more, daring to show up in a bigger way, whether that is in relationships, whether that is in the boardroom, whether that is on social media, when you're doing your marketing or when you're reaching out to people, just daring to come into expansion and to know that a bigger paradigm is possible for you. So in step 3, because we're starting to shift and recode your identity, we're also starting to normalize that receiving is second nature. Receiving is a normal thing. It's not a big deal. It's the way it is supposed to be, so that the nervous system doesn't get triggered every time more comes in. So the expansion stage is about starting to shift your identity and embody a new identity. And it's about making receiving feel normal and feel good in your body. So that's step 3. And step 4 is literally almost like we're coming back full circle. Step 4 is about teaching the body to stay regulated, to stay relaxed, to stay open as you expand. So the more you start to embody a new identity, the more you start to receive, the more you normalize receiving inside you, what's going to automatically happen in your system is something in you is going to say, oh shit. Like suddenly you're getting more visible, something in you is going to say, oh shit. You're bringing in a shit ton of money, something in you is going to say, oh shit. You're suddenly, you do a launch and you're bringing in more clients that you've ever brought in, something in you is going to say, oh shit. The last piece of this puzzle in some ways is once you start to train your body to expand, then you have to also train your body that expansion is safe. And you have to train your body, you have to train your nervous system to stay regulated, to stay relaxed as you expand. And that expansion gets to be peaceful. Expansion gets to feel good. Expansion gets to be easeful. So we are rewiring at that last place. It's really about the quality of receiving and being able to feel really nourished and not abandon yourself as you are expanding. Because for a lot of us, the reason a lot of my clients show up burned out and overwhelmed is because as they reach their level of expansion, they abandoned themselves. And so they brought themselves back in contraction. So this last step is about being able to receive at greater and greater levels, more and more love, more and more support, more and more visibility, more and more clients and opportunities and contracts, more and more money in a way that feels easeful, that feels joyful, that feels playful, that feels nourishing, so that you don't come back into this. You're able to stay in this place and to keep literally expanding and getting more and more spacious. So at that stage, we're not only learning to receive and hold more in a way that feels normal, that feels second nature. We're actually learning how to allow it all in, how to hold it all with greater and greater levels of ease, of satisfaction, and of sustainability. Because for me, this is a big thing. I don't need to help you receive more if the moment you receive more, you're going to sabotage it because you're going to get overwhelmed. My aim in receiving more is all about satisfaction. If receiving more is going to not feel good, then what's the point of receiving more? So we're really normalizing greater and greater levels of ease and joy at that last stage. The only way, and here's a little bit of a shift, and this is something most people, when they come to me because they want they want more. They either want a relationship, they want to make more money, they want that promotion that they've been struggling to get, they want bigger projects or responsibilities at work, whatever it may be. They want more. They more want, sometimes, not a lot, but sometimes they want more vitality. They want better health. They want more of what they want. That's usually what gets people in here, unless they're super burned out, in which case it's more about the quality. But here's the thing I'm going to tell you. Quantity is always defined by quality. So the only way to be able to truly receive more without sabotaging or without coming to resent it is to actually shift your focus away from just wanting more quantity of stuff and actually shifting your focus to the quality of your receiving. Wanting more ease, wanting more joy, wanting more play, wanting more sustainability, and to actually grow and work the strategies that you're doing to receive more from that place. So we rewire our nervous system so that we can create and allow in support and feel supported, so that it feels safe to rest and to take time for us, so that it feels easy to set clear boundaries and to ask for what we need. Without these foundations, without that ease, the quality of your receiving, it's never going to feel safe to bring in more. or it's always going to come at a cost, and so you're going to block it or sabotage it. So this, the rewiring the nervous system for receiving, is all about nourishment. It's all about delight, and making sure that we have that in all aspects of ourselves, without in all aspects of our lives, without ever having to complicate it, without ever having to give up our freedom or sacrifice what matters most to get it. So it's always primary to make ease, joy, and simplicity a priority, to make the quality of your receiving a priority, because the quality of your receiving state defines the quantity that will feel safe for you to receive. So when you're doing this work and you're starting to rewire the nervous system, essentially what you're focusing is you're going to want to pay real close attention to celebrating what's working, to resting when something's not working, like rather than pushing, actually taking some time to rest, to figuring out what would feel safe, what would feel really nourishing in my system right now, and doing it. Like whether doing it is dating, whether doing it is figuring out your relationship with your partner, whether doing it is launching and marketing, like doing what it is that you're doing to receive more in a way that feels really natural and good, and allowing in and saying yes to what feels right and what feels aligned as you grow and as you expand. So you learn to steep your whole being, your whole life, your whole business in ease, in freedom, in delight. And you cultivate these qualities so that receiving more actually starts to feel great. Money work is body work. This is something I always tell clients. Ease, abundance, and freedom is an embodiment practice. Money is an embodiment practice. It doesn't happen in the stuff we do out there. It happens in here first. And it's an internal program that we literally need to recode our nervous system and our brain for. You're not wired for ease. You're not wired for joy. You're wired to essentially survive and do, and please others so that you stay safe. You have to recode yourself that it's okay to lean back, that it's okay to receive, that it's okay to rest, that it's okay to have without having to kill yourself for it. When we're doing this kind of work around abundance, around rest, around receiving, we're actually repairing deep emotional woundings that have been at the core of our species, both personal, familial, ancestral, cultural, and collective. This is like stuff that's been anchored into us over hundreds and thousands of years, which is why it's hard. So your current level of success actually matches. And when I say success, I don't mean just how much you're bringing in. I mean how much you're loving the process of bringing it in. So it's both. It's about how much, and it's about how fun. Like, how fun is it? How nourishing is it? And how much is it? So how successful you are matches your current level of nervous system regulation and expansion. How safe and worthy you feel to receive, and the level to which receiving with ease and joy has become second nature inside your body. To what level your identity is anchored into expansion and into ease. You want to know how expanded and how regulated your nervous system is? Look at your life. How stressed are you? How much drama do you have? How much are you hustling? How frustrated are you with the results you're getting? That will give you a pretty good sense of what's going on in here. Like if you have a visibility issue out there, like you can't seem to get in front of the right people, like no one notices you, you feel invisible, all of that stuff. There's an invisibility or visibility wound in your nervous system that is actually being mirrored out there into the world. When you can't seem to get what you want or hold on to what you want or be able to have it in a way that feels really good and nourishing, that is always a nervous system and an identity problem. It's never a strategy issue. So until you anchor your identity in expansion, you start rewiring your nervous system for expansion, and you align your reality with receiving in a way that feels easeful, no strategy is going to work, no matter how hard you try. Success, results, they don't take a huge amount of effort or a lot of time. They require expansion. When your nervous system is at its most whole, its most open, its most expanded, its most relaxed, that's when you're able to start creating miracles, quantum leaps. And that's when you're able to start molding reality in a way that mirrors that expansiveness. That's when you become magnetic and powerful in love, in life, in work, in money, in wealth. That's when people want to work with you. They want to partner with you. That's when the promotions or the projects or the opportunities you've been seeking start to appear. That's when highly committed clients who won't balk at paying your fees start to show up. All of that stuff working, stuff moving, being in flow is a ripple of the flow of expansion within our own bodies. I often say to people, people don't buy what you're selling. They buy the expansion they sense is in you that they want for themselves. What sells is expansion. What people find attractive in relationship, in partnership, is expansion. Radical receiving, easeful receiving, is a ripple and the gift of expansion. So your nervous system has either normalized contraction, and you might not even know it. It's just a way you live. It's just a way you move through the world. If you look at our world, all the drama, all the trauma, we are a collective of contracted nervous systems walking around trying to survive, trying to get ahead. But we're like this. So we want something, but we're like this. So everything kind of falls off. We can't ever grasp anything. So your nervous system is either normalized contraction or it's normalized expansion. It's one or the other. So when you rewire your nervous system for easeful, delightful, and sustainable expansion, everything else starts to follow and starts to shift. Your thoughts, your beliefs start to calibrate to your expansion. Your feelings, your emotion, your energy start to match your expansion. Your body, your vitality embodies that expansion. Your action, the way you execute strategy, the way you express yourself, calibrates and starts to be in alignment with that expansion. Your life, the results you get, how people show up, how people act with you, what people are willing to pay you, what you're able to receive, all of that starts to calibrate, match, and align with your expansion. It's all about how expanded your nervous system. That is the key. You are the most powerful force in your life. And your nervous system is essentially the igniter and the conductor of that power. There's a lot of thoughts around the brain and the unconscious. Yes, the brain, the unconscious is important. But here's the thing. The brain and the unconscious is a ripple of your nervous system. Your nervous system is significantly older than all these parts of your brain that essentially dictate how you behave, it first needs to shift in the nervous system, which then starts to shift how you think, what you believe is possible, what you believe about yourself, and how you act. And then after all of that, it shifts what you receive and what you can hold. So Your nervous system is the key that unlocks all the doors that previously seemed closed or locked to you. So this is part 2 of the receiving system series. In part 3, which will probably either next Monday or Tuesday, I'll see what my schedule looks like with clients, we're going to explore a piece of how to rewire your nervous system, which is that I find is super important in being able to receive more with more joy, with more ease. And that's reclaiming and raising your self-worth and your self-love. So that will be next week. If you're ready to expand out of contraction and to actually repair, repattern, recode your nervous system so you can achieve, grow, receive more with a lot more ease, a lot more enjoyment, then I would love to work with you. I would love to help you succeed massively in life, in love, in work, in wealth, in a way that feels really good to you, in a way that feels joyful and is truly going to nourish all parts of you, not just your bank account, including your bank account, but not just your bank account. So to help people get started with that, what I do is I offer a 90-minute one-on-one with me, Wired for Wealth Intensive. And you can book that by clicking the link in the description. In this intensive, essentially, we're going to explore and figure out exactly what are the nervous system wounds and blocks that are holding you back. And then I'm actually going to teach you and take you through my proprietary hatching process. So you know exactly how to bring yourself out of contraction, back into regulation, and then back into expansion. And then if we want to continue working together, I'll give you a couple different options to fit your needs and fit your budgets. So if you know you're ready to get started, you know something needs to shift, and what you've done up to this point hasn't worked, then let's give this a try. Just click the link. It's 55% off, 90-minute one-on-one with me. This isn't a group thing. This isn't a video. This is one-on-one with me where I'm going to walk you through the whole process, and we're going to really discover what are the wounds holding you back from having the life, the business, the money you want. It's $149, just so you know. Like when you take that 55% off, it's $150 for that 90 minutes. Always remember that you have everything you need inside of you. Your nervous system is the path to healing your past, and it is also the gateway to your potential and the future that is possible for you. You can do this work on your own, but it's always easier to do it with someone else. Hey, Sharon. Thank you. It's always easier to do it with someone else who's walked a path. And for me, this is the inner work. This is the work that makes everything you do out there start to work. So this is the inner work that unleashes, opens all the outer work. All right, that's what I have for you. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, your week, and I will see you next week for part 3 on increasing self-worth and self-love so that we get to receive more with a lot more ease.